What is Harvard looking for in its candidates? Okay, if we look at the website, it gives us three things. Number one, habit of leadership. Number two, analytical aptitude and appetite. Number three, engaged community citizenship. Well, let's jump right away into these three things. Hello guys, welcome to today's video. In this video, we are going to talk about why and what are some of the core things that Harvard is looking for in its applicants. Well, you might say that I'm not interested in applying to Harvard. That's completely fine. But you need to remember that Harvard is one of the top gold standard schools. And understanding these things will help you build a good application, whether it's an MBA program, MIM program, or MS program for other top schools as well. So let's jump in right into the video and understand what these three things actually mean. The first thing that we need to talk about is engaged community citizenship. Okay, let's start from the bottom of the list, engaged community citizenship. Let us first understand what are some of the key words that are written in this entire paragraph. Okay, it says that you require the active collaboration of the entire HBS community. We look for students who exhibit the highest ethical standard and respect for others. This is pretty straightforward and can make positive contributions to the MBA program. The right candidates must be eager to share their experiences, support their colleagues, and teach as well as learn. Okay, now we want applicants to have these traits as well as bring a variety of skills. In each class, we create a dynamic environment that mirrors the breadth and depth of the world economy. Okay, if we need to write down what are these three or four things, let's say diversity. Then we are talking about teaching and learning. We are talking about collaboration and positive contributions. Now, take these four things, right? Diversity. If you're a software engineer, Microsoft, Amazon, Infosys, doesn't matter which one it is, then the pool in which you are in, there are a lot of potential candidates, right? A lot of folks are looking forward to apply. So you need to show that, hey, there is something else other than your work. You say you are working from 9 to 9 p.m., 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and you don't do anything other than work. This diversity angle is gone. You can't shift your job right away from, let's say, hey, today you are working at Infosys. Tomorrow you can't move to some other sector randomly. That just can't happen, right? So you need to emphasize that diversity element quite a bit. And for that, you need to look outside of your work. And the three things or four things that you can talk about are teaching, right? Because they are saying, hey, teaching is an important thing. Number two, positive contributions to the class. Now, positive contributions to the class can happen in two ways. Number one, if you are an expert in some specific field, you can talk about that quite extensively. Number two, if you are not an expert in certain field, you might have an interest in one area, right? And you do a lot of work in that area. For example, I am interested in child education. Folks who are coming from underprivileged societies, I want to make sure that they get at least what they deserve, good education. So I work with an NGO supporting these guys. Number two, I participate in different initiatives for this particular activity. Number three, I also have a small group of folks who I work with so that continuously we keep teaching people on a small scale. Now, there are a bunch of different activities that I do along with my job to talk about positive contributions to the society, right? Now, that positive contribution would come in, the teaching angle would kick in, and I'm not talking about my work, right, guys? I'm talking about child education. So you need to build something on top of your 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Specifically if you come from overrepresented pools like technology or even financial services or consulting, right? To get into a top school, you need to have something very different. And that difference could come from your own interest area and how you have worked in that interest area for probably a few months, few years, and just explain that, hey, this is something which you want to continue even on the Harvard campus or any other school campus that you are willing to go for, right? So this is one thing. Now, a lot of people also tell me that, hey, I'm interested in running, I'm interested in cooking. Well, that might be your personal interest, but you are not teaching something to somebody, or you are not able to make positive contributions to the society at large because of that. It's a very personal thing, right? So you need to get into activities which are little outside of your own personal self and start seeing what is the impact that you are making. This is extremely important, guys. Your GMAT of 730 and 710, probably that is one differentiating factor, but I personally believe that this entire engaged community citizenship, this factor is actually more important than GMAT after a certain point. You get to the median score, let's say for Harvard, the median score is 730. If you get to that median score or a little more, from that particular point in time, these are the factors which differentiate your profile from others. So please don't at all ignore these things. Now, moving on to the second thing what these guys have written. This is pretty straightforward, right? Analytical, aptitude, and appetite. Well, we are saying that we look for individuals who enjoy lively discussion debates, prepared students who can assess, analyze, and act upon complex information with often ambiguous contexts, right? Well, the GRE, GMAT, these things will of course help, but there is one other interesting thing which you can highlight through your application packet for this specifically. Your GMAT and GRE don't reflect the ambiguous nature of the work that you do. So, your letter of recommendation coming in from your manager, your supervisor, whoever that is, they can speak about how well you can actually handle these ambiguous situations. So you need to tell the person who is writing your LOR that, hey, these are some of the situations that probably you can highlight, right? This is a mutual conversation, right, guys? You cannot let everything on paper to these guys. You need to tell them that, hey, these are some of the traits that I'm highlighting. If there are any other traits that you wish to highlight, please go ahead and write it so that the entire application packet seems to be comprehensive. So that is one aspect of it, right? LORs. The second aspect of it is GRE and GMAT. Now, if we move into the other section of this website, GRE and GMAT, right? Let's say the total range is 590 to 790 and the median total for GMAT is 730. Okay, if the median score for GMAT is 730, if you are coming from an overrepresented pool like technology, probably your GMAT should be a little higher, right, than this. So in case of Indians, I would always advise target for plus 20 with respect to whatever is the average that is written on the school's website. And why is that I'm saying that? Because if we just go on top of this, you are seeing that the pre-MBA industry candidates, like 5% of the class, if 1,000 students are there at Harvard, 50 students are coming from military and 80 students are coming from non-profit and 100 students are coming from technology. Well, 80 students from non-profit and 100 students from technology, right? If you are coming from an overrepresented pool where a lot of people are fighting, a 760 in that pool, probably same as the 720 in a pool of candidates who are coming from non-profit, government or education sectors, right? So you need to make sure that if you are coming from an overpopulated pool, you compensate for that with extremely high GMATs. The same thing applies for GRE too. Now, if you are just specifically thinking about, hey, what is my target score that I think about? As we talked about previously, if you are somewhere above the median and coming from an overrepresented pool, that's still not going to make the cut. The first factor that we talked about, community citizenship, that along with your good GMAT is going to make a massive difference. Okay. Now, this is pretty straightforward, how to represent your analytical aptitude, GRE, GMAT, your GPAs, and also through your letter of recommendations. Now, let's jump into the third factor. This is habit of leadership. Well, habit of leadership again, let's just go through the entire paragraph and see what are some of the interesting keywords that are present here. Leadership may be expressed in many forms: college extracurricular activities, to academic or business achievements, or personal accomplishments, to community commitments, right? We appreciate leadership on any scale, from organizing a classroom to directing a combat squad, from running an independent business. In essence, we are looking for evidence of your potential. So let's understand one step at a time. Okay, the first one, looking for evidence. You cannot say that, hey, I am a great leader. I've been thinking about Barack Obama. I'm thinking about a few other fantastic leaders and I want to emulate their specific traits. And no, you cannot speak about it that way. You have to show evidence, right? Evidence is what matters. Now, the other thing, these guys say, hey, from organizing a classroom to directing a combat squad, from running an independent business, they are basically saying that, hey, you basically do whatever you are interested in. And if you have expressed leadership traits in that, we would be happy to listen about that. But if you take a step back, coming from an overrepresented pool like Indian technology or financial services or any of these candidates, there might be 100 other students who are organizing a classroom. This is all about differentiating yourself from the entire applicant pool. So you just cannot say that, hey, I've organized a classroom for 20 students. Does that cut for Harvard? You tell me the answer. Okay, you tell me if you believe that will cut for the answer or not. Do you think like, hey, you going and working for an NGO for, let's say, 6 months every single weekend, would that count as a great leadership experience for a Harvard MBA school or any other top business school? What do you think? Tell me in the comment section. Okay, I personally believe no. I believe this leadership has, again, doesn't matter whether it is college extracurriculars, academic or business achievements, but it has to show a little bit more than just going and teaching or basically acing the process. Process leadership is not what we are talking about here. We are talking about inspiring others. For example, at work, you communicated very heavily about having an intranet portal for knowledge sharing documents. There is not much response. So you went ahead, you took that step of working probably for a couple of weeks and created that base version so that the knowledge flow entirely in the organization is now being automated. Well, that's a great thing. Probably 10 others looked up to you and joined this initiative. That is leadership because you are inspiring 10 others to do the work that you are doing. It is not about, hey, I solved a problem for my client with 10 members in my team. That doesn't cut it. But inspiring 10 others counts. Right? The next one, you are being empathetic. Well, guys, in the business world, we never talk about empathy, but that could be your key differentiating factor. You can say that I am such a person where other folks don't need to come to me and express their problems. I understand their problems based on the situations that are going around and how they are behaving. Right? For example, if you are working on a factory floor, somebody who is pretty active on a daily basis is not very active today. Right? You as a leader, rather than ignoring that fact or rather than going and telling that, hey, please be active, you are not contributing to the work, you ask a simple question that, hey, what's happening with your life today? Anything different from yesterday? And the person might say that, hey, I have a personal loss in the family and that's the reason why I'm not able to concentrate at work. Right? That is empathy, understanding others' feelings even before they communicate something. If you are an empathetic leader, you will go a long way. And that empathy is one of the key traits of leadership. Not many people talk about it. But if you have faced these kind of situations, whether at work, whether at your like extracurricular activity, please speak about these things. It is not about if you are a senior director or a junior director or a senior manager. No, titles don't matter in leadership. Whether you are able to inspire others, whether you are able to understand others, right? The definition of leadership is again up to you. But you need to basically provide evidence of the highest quality of leadership. And a very simple exercise that can help you with that is, please go check out who are your favorite leaders. It could be your manager or it could be somebody in the political circles and see what are the traits that they exhibit on a regular basis. And if these are the traits that you have exhibited in any of your like past work situations or extracurricular situations, talk about that. Right? That is how you are expressing your own personality on the essays. Your personality should come out, guys. Your core philosophies about life, about work, these things will come out only if you talk about the highest levels of leadership. And that is not titles. That is not saying that, hey, I did solve a challenging problem for my client. That's minimum. That is anyways expected for a top business school. Whether it is Harvard, whether it is INSEAD, London Business School, Stanford, Wharton, any top school you take, right? This is how you think about leadership. I hope you get a good understanding, guys. The 3 factors that we talked about: leadership, community citizenship, and aptitude. Now, one other key thing that I want to add. if you are applying in the next, let's say 1 year or 2 years for an MBA program, there are a lot of things that we talked about. You're probably going and working with an NGO, you're probably going and starting your own initiative, teaching somebody. Remember that you are doing these things along with a job. So it's extremely, extremely tricky for you to concentrate and also have an impact. So you need to basically create a group of folks together who can solve these kind of problems so that the impact could be better and you can talk about it collectively. I'm giving you a link in the description box where we help folks connect together who have similar interests, collaborate and build better things. If you are interested, sign up and let me know what you think about the video. Thank you so much, guys, and a big shout out to Blue Chapter, through which we are doing these kind of initiatives, and I hope it will be fantastic ad for your resume and you can actually crack these schools. Take care, guys. Bye.